it's not something that worries me. I mean, I imagine that if I were a terrorist, I'd be more worried than I am as someone that owns a hardware store. I don't think I have anything interesting to say that people are surveilling me.
Do you think that terrorism can be defeated, and why or why not?
I don't think that the people that attack America because they don't like how America treats them or treats their country, I don't think that'll ever stop. I really don't. I don't think that that's a winnable war. You look at like a place like Afghanistan, where there's been war in that country for hundreds of years. It doesn't stop. And I think that our best bet is to find ways to, you know, protect ourselves through, good law enforcement. I'd rather see good law enforcement than another war. Through solid law enforcement and through, smart security steps, meaningful security, whether it's at the airport or at a baseball game. And I'm not talking about like a Muslim ban or anything like that. I'm talking about knowing who your enemy is, being aware of your enemy's existence and what fuels them. And I think that part of smart security is going out of your way not to fuel their hatred.
What would you want students to know about this day?
About 9/11, I mean, people say it's the day that changed everything, and it did. And it changed so much of our lives, what life was like before. I remember when I used to work at the airport, like, you could go, like, for example, the Delta terminal at the airport. On 9/11, that thing was under construction. And there was a vision that, like, prior to 9/11, the McNamara terminal, the Delta terminal, was going to have a shopping mall in it. And that you would go to the airport, the theory was that you would go to the airport to shop. Like, it was like a mall with airplanes. And you just go through security, and you could go buy a bag or whatever you'd want to buy because there'd be high-end stores at the airport. And then have your entertainment and then go home for the evening. And have a meal and then go home at the airport. And 9/11 changed that because no longer could you pass freely through security. Prior to 9/11, you could go up to the airport, and if there was a Burger King inside the airport, you could have a burger at Burger King for lunch and go back to work. And that free movement in airports, that's the thing that is, there's that. And then just like, if you think about it, like if you go to New York City, you always see policemen with long guns walk around the streets. And you never saw that before. You never saw that at 9/11. There were never metal detectors at baseball stadiums. Like when we went to Comerica Park for batting practice on the field, remember we had to go through a metal detector? You never had to go through a metal detector to go into a baseball stadium. So I guess the thing of it is that there is now security in many ways, in many places, in many aspects of our life where there never was security. Where you're checked, where a lot of people gather, that is now a target, and you have to worry about people that are hosting. You have to worry for your safety in ways that they never intended to. When a lot of these buildings were built, there was never an intention. You think about the lifespan of a building, like a ballpark. There was never an intention to have airport-like security in ballparks. Maybe if a president was showing up to throw out the first pitch, it'd be improved security. But otherwise, here's your ticket, you shoot right through it.
Yeah. And then last question. Uh, I know that you had a childhood friend that died during the 9/11. Can you explain his rel- his relationship with you a little bit more?
There was a they're a victim of 9/11 is someone that I grew up with down the street from me. His name was Brian Trenzy, and he worked at Cantor Fitzgerald, and a lot of the people that worked at Cantor Fitzgerald did not survive. I don't, I remember he lived down the street from us, and we spent a lot of time together in our younger years as I grew up and he grew up with. I mean, after I think he got out of high school and I got out of high school and stopped going back home, we didn't see each other anymore. I probably hadn't seen him in 10 years, but he was married and he had I believe his wife was pregnant at the time that he perished. And I mean, like, I knew his mom and his dad. We weren't my parents weren't best friends with them, but I mean, it was a family of the neighborhood that we knew, and I played a lot of kickball or baseball or whatever nonsense sledding with him as a kid. It's sad. I mean, it's a connection that I have to it. But it was horrible to hear about when it happened. There's a lot of pictures immediately after 9/11 where people were like printing out pictures and colors of their loved ones and stapling them to like missing pictures. For people. There's some people that literally just disappeared. I mean, when those buildings fell, when those buildings, when the fireballs went through those buildings crumbled. There were people that disappeared. They didn't find anything. There were people that were bringing toothbrushes with DNA on them